Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Simon J. Spiritual. I'm going to give you a word on tonight. And the name of the topic going to be misunderstanding. We have a lot of that going on lately, misunderstanding. When all you can do is communicate first and you won't have a misunderstanding. So it's going to come from Joshua. Everything I talk about always comes straight from the Bible. So this is going to come from Joshua chapter 22, verse 10 through 20. Now, a misunderstanding, failure to understand something correctly, lack of communication. Misunderstanding can corrupt over little things. Now, sometimes misunderstanding can come from a little thing that rise up to something big. That where they're fighting and wants to beat each other, go to war, and everything else. And sometimes it can be the littlest thing. And people just be fighting and fussing for years and years. And then we ask, God, what y'all favorite? God, been so long, I don't even know. you know, and sometimes it's all from a misunderstanding. So when this happens, the best course of action is to opening a communication, a lesson learned in a mutual way by the people of Israel. And this God people. And they gonna have, and then the other person is an Israelite too. But when they came from Egypt, they all started going in separate ways. So when they came to Galilee, near the Jordan, in the land of Canaan, to Reubenites, the Gadianites, in the hell tribes of Messiah, built an impostor altar there by Jordan. Now, he figured that I'm an Israelite too. I mean, we not together. We separated and stuff. But we coming to build impostor altar there by the Jordan. And that's what the property of the Israelite. And they also is the Israelites. So they built the altar as a reminder that the two in the hell trials across the Jordan are still part of God's people. They are still part of God's people and still live in God's land. The land before all the Israelites. So that's what they're saying. They want to build an altar there. The reminder that the 2.5 tribes across the Jordan are still part of God's people. And their own people, they're going to be fighting among each other. Now, they came, built the imposter altar there by the Jordan, but did not speak to the leader there to let them know this would cause a problem, lack of communication. Now, they figure, okay, I'm an Israelite, John the Israelite, God gave this land to all us. We can build this right here. Now, he ain't let the leaders know or nothing, because they figured they can do it. So he ain't speak to no one. He just automatically just start building on by the Canaanites on their land, on all their land. So and when the Israelites had heard that they had built an altar on their border in Canaan, near the Jordan on the Israelite side, so now when the Israelites heard, they should have set a meeting for both leaders of why they build an altar. And when you don't communicate, it will be a misunderstanding. Now, they're going to be ready to go to war. Now, instead of the leaders trying to set up something to find out what's going on, they're going to allow themselves out to go to war, because someone built someone instead of them having communication. The leaders, now the whole assembly of Israel gathered, to go to war, against them. So they're ready to go to war. Instead of going and have a open communication, they're just ready to go to war. So the leaders of Israel have traveled out to meet them, ready to continue. So they hold a war against their own people, if necessary. So the Israelites believe that if they let the altar remain, that God will judge the whole nation. So that's why they're trying to do something. They're trying to see if they would have them to keep the altar on the land, or they figure God gonna be mad with them. So it gonna be a misunderstanding because the leader will not come together. So the leader Israel is ready to go to war. So that's how we are today. That's how we are today. Still to communicate with someone, you heard, you hear something from somebody. Instead of you communicating with somebody, you're ready to go to war. So that's how we are today. We hear something, but instead of communication, both leaders, they are ready to go to war. So the Israelite had sent the son of Eli, of the priest, to the land. They brought all the leaders to the land. So with him, they had sent 10 of the chief men, one from each of the tribes. So they're getting the people together for war. Nowadays, getting their men together for war. They represent the 10 leaders with them and the family leader for each tribe of Israel. So when they went to Galilee, together to have trials, they said to one another. They getting their men together. Now, see them say, okay, let's us leaders go over there and find out what's going on. Instead of that, they getting their men together for what? The whole assembly of the law has said, how could you break our faith? With the God of Israel like this? How could you turn away from the Lord and build yourself an altar in rebellions against him now? So if they let this altar remain, they will feel like they will break faith with God of Israel. Now he thinks that he is rebelling by building this for himself. Was not the sin of the poor, no, but for us. Up to this very day, we have not, cleaned ourselves from that sin, even though a pledge fell on the community of the Lord. Now, since building the altar has seemed designed, not for a single action, isolation, worship, and are we now is turning away from the Lord? If you rebel, now see, they kind of scared now. They want him to tear it down because they feel like they're breaking the faith with God. So tomorrow he will be angry with the whole community. Now he think God gonna be angry. Excuse me. He think God gonna be angry with him and think because he broke the faith. If he let him keep that altar on the land. So they break their faith with God, and God is angry that they worship out of God. And if they don't put it away, he will punish the whole community of Israel. So if the land will process, it's defied, come over to the Lord land, where the Lord table like a stand, and share the land with us. Now see, that's a proper way they should have had done it. Communicate. So now they're saying, share the land with us. But do not rebel against the law. So that's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. He's saying, you can stay on the land, but don't rebel against the land, against God. Meaning they can't bring all the gods and all that on the land. They can't do none of that. So used by building an altar, building an altar, building an altar for yourself other than the altar of the Lord our God. Now, instead of him building an altar for God, he building one for himself. Saying, building you an altar besides the altar of the Lord our God, which ought to be common to both and no other to be set up against it. Or use it. So when unfaithfulness regards to devotion things did not come on the whole community, but Israel. Now he was not only one. So the misunderstanding can corrupt, over little things, big things. So when the action is openly communicate, a lesson learned in an amused way by the people of Israel. So their trials of Reuben gave. In the health trials of the Messiah, built an altar near the Jordan. Now all the other people of Israel had heard about this. But they is outraged. They assume that this is the new place of worship. And that the trials of the east side of the Jordan would no longer come. So all they had to do was have the leaders come now, communicate, find out why you're building one here. Why is you building one there? Intentional by the end of the conversation, the tribes on the west side of the Jordan celebrate the memorial. And see, that's what we're saying at the beginning. They built the altar to celebrate a memorial of their unity. Now, it is not a revival altar. It is a reminder that the tribes of Israel ought to always stand together. They're supposed to always stay together. Now, the other group is an Israelite also, and they're supposed to stay together. If we only communicate, we can avoid misunderstanding. Not be so quick to go to war. But after they communicate, then there was no war. See, they had to come to communicate. They had to communicate. Once they communicate, see, they was ready to go to war. But once they communicate, they found out the reason. It was a reminder of the Israelites. When they escaped from Egypt. It was a reminder. Only they would have came to find out why you building the altar. Why you building this altar? It could have been a communication. So once they had the communication to find out what and what, there was no war. There was no war. So after they communicate, there was no war. It was misunderstanding. So that's all I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed and safe night, and I see y'all in the next video.